What's up, everybody? Let's talk about Kanna. Alright, today, on my herbal journeys and my escapades, I decided to take some Kanna, or Scalatium tortuosum. In case you didn't catch that, Kanna, Scalatium tortuosum. Kanna is something that I've heard about for many years, and I always wanted to try. But when I was younger, I never would have appreciated it. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to declare this is basically a trip report. I've taken dozens of herbs. I've spent countless hours online researching the medicines and plants and herbs that I consume and those that I'm interested in consuming. Sometimes I've spent hours researching something I still haven't taken, but I like to know what I'm taking and what it does to me. Now, Kanna is native to Africa, and the Hottentot tribe would put it in kind of as a quid, and they would chew it all day long. I believe, don't know if it was just during ceremonies or not, but point being, I believe it's a succulent, like a cactus. Succulents are like cacti, and it has it's an SSRI, a powerful SSRI, which, if you don't already know, that's a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which means that serotonin is constantly produced by your body and then reuptaken into these areas, and it prohibits that from being taken back up, so your body becomes flooded more with serotonin. This is what they give people as antidepressants. They're SSRIs. Some people lack serotonin. So you don't play with these things lightly. So a person may take Kanna and say, I'm getting nothing off of it, and walk away from it, and that's probably what I would have done years ago. Now, having a more mature, more well-rounded understanding of plants and how they affect me, I'm almost 40 now, and I've spent the last 25 years taking all types of different psychedelics and mild plants, to the point where I got to where I tried kratom about 6-7 years ago and fell in love with it. I noticed it right away. But before that, I may have just thought, oh, it's a little mild, more motivated, kind of like drinking a few Red Bulls or something. You get older and you learn to respect the herbs and understand how they work. I don't know why that focus is doing that. That's really weird. So I try to respect the plants as best I can. There we go. That's better. Try to respect the herbs that I'm taking and try to be responsible with them, so I'm not harming myself. Obviously, I mean, I'm a father and husband. I've got 3 kids and a life to live, so I'm not going to go around taking things that I'm not aware of. Anyway, back to the Kanna. I'm getting the reason why I'm kind of priming you for that. Actually, that's a perfect pun for it. Anyone who takes Kanna, some people have claimed that the person has to be primed, which means that you take Kanna one time. The first time I took it, I smoked it, and I felt a feeling, it was almost like a slight come-on of MDMA, which is ecstasy, or what's not ecstasy, it's actually MDMA, but people have called ecstasy MDMA, or I should say, most of the ecstasy is MDMA laced with something else, but the actual MDMA experience is very mellow and comforting. It's a serotonin experience. And the first time I took Kanna, I thought that that's what was doing it. I didn't know which herb. I was taking all different types, so I had to wait. This is 1 ounce. I smoked about 500 milligrams a couple times, maybe 300 milligrams, and had mild effects, but a distinct feeling. Today I decided, all right, I was ready to experience further, and I've been taking this for about 2 to 3 weeks now. On and off, not every day, about maybe once every 3 days or something, a different dose. This time I decided to take 1 gram, I weighed it out, and took it orally, which is considered a strong dose. This is fermented Kanna, good quality stuff. And after about an hour or two, actually it was about 2 to 3 hours, which was only about 15-20 minutes ago, I took another quid. Actually, I took it sublingually, and what I do is I took about another ½ gram, put it under my tongue sublingually, then pour a little tiny bit of alcohol in there. Alcohol opens up the pores, helps it to absorb better. When you take it sublingually, you notice it right away. Now, many people who take Kanna, a lot of people snort it. And you can get the extract of Kanna, and you can snort that too. I don't snort anything because I don't like damaging my mucous membranes. So I always take an alternate route, you know. So for me, I guess chewing it would be a great idea. You could put it in gum, or you could put it under your tongue sublingually. But it does work. It's kind of a warm, flush feeling at first, a comforting, warm feeling. And then it's kind of like a come-on, as if you're getting to the point where you're going to be tripping. Only a psychedelic user would understand that. So from what I've read, cannabis is enhanced by Kanna. Some people, I've heard more than a few people say, oh, it increases it like threefold. Now, sometimes you read this on the internet, and it's just somebody who read this on the internet and then just repeats it and repeats it. So you never know quite what to believe. And it definitely does have a combination effect, a synergistic effect between the Kanna and the cannabis, but I mean, don't all herbs. But the Kanna itself, the feeling is really hard to describe. It somewhat comes in waves for me, kind of like but it's a consistent feeling of contentment. And it was really strange because the first couple times I felt like it was compared to MDMA, and I thought, is this just all in my head? And then I read a couple articles about other people who had taken it, and I read like 4 or 5 different people who said, wow, it was like taking MDMA. And they pinned it down to that specific drug, so to me that was very important. It confirmed my experience, yet I didn't have any preconceived notions about it when I took it. I'd done a little research on it, but I didn't know that it was like that. So here we have a plant that is a powerful SSRI that is readily available for a relatively cheap price, and very few people actually know about it or utilize it. This is because many of the, let's say the older generation, the ones who are taking a lot of medicines, the baby boomer generation, I guess, or they have a lot of faith in the medical system, whereas the upcoming youngsters have very little faith and are starting to go back to alternate medicine and start to understand these things. Yet sometimes expect something to be very strong, and they try something and it doesn't work. This has happened to me several times. I've tried an herb, but there are several out there, you know. Kanna, mucuna, kava, maca root, they all have these slight effects on the mood, on the, they all have their own useful natures. And Kanna is definitely one I'm going to put in my medicine chest and add it to my arsenal of excellent plants. So that was my report, and I guess all I really wanted to say is that it does work, and for those who are curious, because when I look I don't find a whole lot of information on Kanna. Even when I go on Arrowhead I find people talking about it, but no definite, real, strong personal reports that say yes it works and this is how it works. I guess I'm just adding mine to it. I did write a trip report, I think, already on there for a couple things, but not the Kanna yet. Anyway, so that's my video about Kanna, and I hope that helps somebody who's interested in the plant, because there's one thing you might want to know if you do order it. You'll see Kanna, traditional Kanna, and fermented Kanna. Traditionally fermented Kanna is supposedly better on the stomach. It's easier on the stomach if you take it orally, and some people get kind of nauseous from the regular stuff. From what I understand, there's no difference in potency. It's just a matter of how it affects the stomach. So, hope that helps somebody, and Kanna might just be the next big thing. I mean, if you look at all the people who are taking SSRIs today, antidepressants are just off the chart. When I take Kanna, I feel great. I don't need antidepressants, but a person who, if you've ever taken an SSRI when you don't need antidepressants, you can still benefit from it and you feel great. We all have kind of our own of varying degrees of chemical levels in our body, you know, in our brains. So you try something, if it works, it works. So there's Kanna for you. Peace and love, and have a great night.